The Prime Minister today marked a special significant milestone in the centenary celebrations of the RSS by attending the event. However, on the sidelines of it, a massive political controversy has broken out, with the Congress going up against the BJP on multiple accounts. Number one, RSS will now come into the textbooks where Delhi is concerned. Many other states also contemplating adopting RSS as a part of syllabus, even NCERT on one account. The Congress questioning that, suggesting that why should the RSS be taught as syllabus to students where it wasn't even part of the freedom struggle. On the other account, you have the BJP, many leaders asking that Hegdewar of the RSS be given the Bharat Ratna. Here's more.
स्वागत अभिनंदन आप सबके करतल ध्वनि के साथ करें देवी सचिव। देवी सज्जनों, आज जब हम राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ के 100 गौरवशाली वर्षों का उत्सव मना रहे हैं,
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday attended the centenary celebrations of the RSS at the Dr. Ambedkar International Centre in New Delhi. To mark the occasion, Prime Minister released a commemorative postage stamp and coin. Prime Minister Modi, a long-time member of the Sangh, praised the organization's legacy and values, calling RSS a symbol of discipline, service and sacrifice.
संघ की एक धारा अनेक धारा तो बनी, मल्टीप्लाई तो होती गई, लेकिन उनमें कभी विरोधाभास पैदा नहीं हुआ, डिवीजन नहीं हुआ, क्योंकि हर धारा का विविध क्षेत्र में काम करने वाले हर संगठन का उद्देश्य एक ही है, भाव एक ही है, राष्ट्र प्रथम, नेशन फर्स्ट।
Prime Minister also spoke emotionally about historical injustices done to RSS leaders.
हमने देखा है कैसे आजादी के बाद भी संघ को कुचलने का प्रयास हुआ, मुख्य धारा में आने देने का और उसे न आने से रोकने का अनगिनत षड्यंत्र हुए। परम पूज्य गुरु जी को झूठे केस में फंसाया गया, उन्हें जेल तक भेज दिया गया, लेकिन जब पूज्य गुरु जी जेल से बाहर आए, तब परम पूज्य गुरु जी ने बहुत सहजता से कहा था, कभी कभी जीभ दांतों के नीचे आकर दब जाती है, कुचल भी जाती है, लेकिन हम दांत नहीं तोड़ देते, क्योंकि दांत भी हमारे हैं और जीभ भी हमारी है। आप कल्पना कर सकते हैं, जिन्हें जेल में इतनी यातनाएं दी गई, जिन पर भांति भांति के अत्याचार हुए, उसके बाद भी परम पूज्य गुरु जी के मन में कोई रोष नहीं था, कोई दुर्भावना नहीं थी। यही परम पूज्य गुरु जी का ऋषि तुल्य व्यक्तित्व था।
He also warned of new age threats, pointing to demographic changes and attempts to divide the country's unity.
साथियों, सामाजिक समरसता को आज डेमोग्राफी में बदलाव के षड्यंत्र से, घुसपैठियों से भी बड़ी चुनौती मिल रही है। यह हमारी आंतरिक सुरक्षा और भविष्य की शांति से भी जुड़ा हुआ प्रश्न है, और इसलिए मैंने लाल किले से डेमोग्राफी मिशन की घोषणा की है। हमें इस चुनौती से सतर्क रहना है, इसका डटकर मुकाबला करना है।
RSS General Secretary Dattatreya Hosable, who attended the event, gave a vision of the Sangh and United Bharat.
संघ को आज देश, राष्ट्रभक्ति, अनुशासन, सेवा जैसे राष्ट्रीय आवश्यकताओं के प्रबल एवं सफल प्रतीक के नाते देखता है। संघ के स्वयंसेवक जीवन के प्रत्येक क्षेत्र में सक्रिय रहकर समाज को जोड़ते हुए समाज की उन्नति के, राष्ट्र की सेवा, सुरक्षा, कल्याण के कई कार्यों में आज सक्रिय हैं, उसको संपन्न कर रहे हैं।
But the centenary celebration wasn't without political heat. The Congress launched a scathing attack, accusing RSS of having played no role in the freedom struggle.
All know that RSS was not part of the Quit India movement. They were not part of the Indian National Army with Netaji also. They were with the Britishers. When we read about Quit India movement, what history we are going to say? It's going to be only absenteeism of RSS there.
The debate around RSS legacy is far from over. With Himanshu Mishra, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, so the RSS on the day of its centenary celebrations find itself bang in the middle of a political controversy. And joining me for a political face-off this evening is Anshul Abhijit from the Congress spokesperson, National Spokesperson Congress, and the National Spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Sanju Verma. Each of you are going to get 2 minutes each to put your point forward. I want to begin with Anshul Abhijit. Anshul Abhijit, what is the real problem of the Congress? You might have an ideological fight where the RSS is concerned, but having said that, on the issue of Bharat Ratna, there have been very contentious, names that were awarded the Bharat Ratna. The BJP might say when the Congress was in power. How is the Congress questioning that, where the RSS and the BJP wanting, or some members of the BJP wanting the Bharat Ratna to go to Mr. Hedgewar?
The entire credibility of the Bharat Ratna will completely be diluted if this happens. Whatever the views on different leaders, I will just tell you the Congress's view on the RSS, a quick biography of it. It's a 100-year-old political, sociological, cultural project. It's not simply a cultural project. It has worked tirelessly towards undercutting what we value the most, democracy, secularism, social justice, and most of all, gender equity as well. As far as social justice goes, well, we all know very well that the RSS has always been opposed to reservations. That has been said timelessly. Again, Mohan Bhagwat said that reservations should be reviewed. There's been lateral entry. NCRT books, references to caste discrimination have been removed from there. It was opposed to reservations in the First Amendment itself. So people who've come out of the RSS ranks have said that it's highly discriminatory. In practice, of course, it's patronizing at best in its complete rhetoric. And as far as gender goes, well, it was opposed to the Hindu Code Bill, which was meant for liberalizing the status of women. It went against that. And in fact, it had a march to parliament against it. So much talk about emancipation of Muslim women. It's never done that to Hindu women until the parliament itself made laws. This is for a matter of record. And as for demonization of minorities, well, it knows how to do that the best, right? It's turning that into some kind of invasion, a language of civilizational warfare, all this trying to make the majority feel insecure. Having more children, that's what they said. That's what Mr. Mohan Bhagwat said in his latest speech. Have more children because there's a gross asymmetry going on. So this demographic metric has also entered the picture. And as for nationalism, well, what can I say? Let me answer to the Prime Minister. It had no role in the freedom movement. It hated the Constitution. It hated the national flag. And it hero worshipped Hitler.
Abhijit, Anshul, I believe your time is up, sir. I'll circle back to you. Allow me to come back to you. Your 2 minutes is over. The fader is going to go down. Nobody's going to quite hear you. I want to go to Sanju Verma on this. And Sanju Verma, the fact is, the BJP has been the biggest critique of the UPA years and the Bharat Ratna awardees during that time. Many of them that you continue to rake up in conversations even today. What's so wrong if the Congress wants to oppose the fact that why should Bharat Ratna be given to Mr. Hedgewar? Number one. Number two, to find place in now textbooks. It's starting with the national capital, Delhi, where the Congress in its own right is correct because the RSS really had nothing to do with the freedom struggle. And that has been the tenet of at least, where it comes down to organizational roles where the freedom struggle of India is concerned.
Preeti, let me make a couple of things clear. Whether Mr. Hedgewar will be given Bharat Ratna or not, time will tell. But let your audience know this. Nehru gifted himself a Bharat Ratna in 1955. Indira Gandhi gifted herself a Bharat Ratna in 1971. And guess what? B.R. Ambedkar, the father of India's constitution, was given a Bharat Ratna 34 years after his demise. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was given a Bharat Ratna in 1991, 41 years after his demise. So for the Congress Darbari ecosystem to sit here and lecture the BJP on what it should or should not do is a bit too rich. Let's not forget, when Prime Minister Modi inaugurated Sardar Patel's statue at Kevadia in Gujarat, the entire Darbari ecosystem said, "अरे सरदार पटेल के स्टैच्यू पर 3000 करोड़ खर्चा करने की क्या जरूरत थी?" This is the same Darbari ecosystem which fails to acknowledge that Nehru, after B.R. Ambedkar's demise in 1956, had the audacity to write to the then President Rajendra Prasad saying, "Do not attend B.R. Ambedkar's funeral because he was a traitor and a controversial figure." For the longest time, the Darbari ecosystem has been fed and has been feeding generations on history written by the likes of an Irfan Habib, a Ramila Thapar, or a Ramchandra Guha, not history written by an R.C. Majumdar, R.K. Chaudhary, R.K. Mukherjee, Bipin Chandra, D.N. Jha, or K.R. Malkani. But now, people need to know that Mr. Keshav Baliram Hedgewar participated in the non-cooperation movement in 1920 to 22, spent more than 12 months in jail. Again, he went to jail in 1931 because he participated in the forest satyagrah, and RSS veteran Ramakant Deshpande hoisted the national flag in Nagpur and Pune way back in 1939. And let's not forget, Nehru invited the RSS to participate in the Republic Day celebration in 1963. So don't peddle wrong history.
All right. Sanju Verma, your time is up and we'll circle back to you. I want to cut across to Anshul Abhijit. Anshul Abhijit, with what I mentioned, Sanju Verma detailed to add to it, there have been names which have been contentious where the Bharat Ratna has been awarded, to name a few. Gulzari Lal Nanda, Mr. V.V. Giri, have all, nobody's saying that they didn't deserve it, but the names have been contentious where there has been a train of thought which seems to suggest that the Congress awarded those who were close to them. So what's the difference here, if at all, the BJP is looking at giving the Bharat Ratna to Mr. Hedgewar? Number one, you talk about an ideological divide, but the fact is, Anshul Abhijit, there is a huge chunk today across India that truly believes in the ideology of the RSS and the role that possibly RSS plays where the social narrative of this country is concerned in times of tragedy, in times of disaster, where they come in, where they help. And on those grounds, there is a section which would say, why not?
I don't know the nature of popular support, but even if you argue that to be true, how does that make it right? A highly communalizing, polarizing agency, which has worked relentlessly for 100 years for that very agenda. It's true, maybe, that Mr. Hedgewar for some time was a part of the Congress. The moment he left the Congress because of the Gandhian doctrine of inclusiveness, of including Dalits and Muslims, which became a part of the Congress agenda because it was accused of being somewhat of a monolith party. That's when he left and parted ways with the Congress party. He couldn't imagine everyone being a part of it. This is the inclusivity is the Congress doctrine. That was a Gandhian doctrine. You cannot have figures like Mr. Hedgewar, who, by his own admission, stayed away from the freedom movement, let RSS leaders stay away. Later on, the RSS, following his own agenda, lay in the shadows of the British, opposed even the freedom struggle, right? While other actual freedom fighters lay hanging from ropes. That is the real story of the RSS. It's misogynistic. It opposed the Hindu Code Bill. It is anti-reservation. It is anti-social justice. It is demonizes minorities. You cannot have figures. It's rewriting our textbooks so that others have a different view of history today. It is doing all this time, and popular support is, if it does exist, is due to playing with emotions, right? If you instill insecurity and anxiety, it's recently got a lot of oxygen because a number of people from the RSS are now in power and have been for the last 10 years. But their job has been, they are just simply proxies of the RSS. In fact, they're the same thing. The idea is to instill fear and anxiety in the minds of the minority so they get that support. Otherwise, why would you say that improve your demographics? This was a call right there. If the call was also there, listen, let's go after. I don't mind if members of the RSS, it's not
All
my
right,
calling.
I believe, Anshul, Abhijit, your time is up. Your fader is going to go down, and I'm going to give you just the last 2 minutes after I cut across to Sanju Verma. But Sanju Verma, you know, there is credence to what possibly Anshul Abhijit is saying, where it comes down to, you know, a possible nomination of Mr. Hedgewar for the Bharat Ratna. Nobody's saying he's getting it, but it's being contended with. There have been views of Mr. Hedgewar that could be caused, you know, deeply disconcerting to many, where it came down to certain communal facts that he detailed in his book itself, or his views on women and their role in society, number one. Number two, if nobody might not contest the fact that RSS should not be taught as a subject in school. Some would suggest that the RSS continues to play a pivotal part, especially where the social fabric of this country is concerned, in times of need, in times of disaster. You know, they've been a helping hand, and why not speak about it? And the kids should learn about it. Great. But are we going to glorify the RSS? Are we going to completely nullify that the RSS did not play a role in our freedom struggle, which was essential? Is it going to be the true account of what the RSS has really stood for? Because that is contentious, Sanju Verma.
You know, Preeti, I'm sure you will give me only 2 minutes. But you have such a lengthy question for me, that's your prerogative. But then I need time to answer. Because, you know, sometimes questions under the garb of being a question make statements and reinforce an idea on the viewers. So let me reinforce something for the benefit of your viewers. Who gave Bharat Ratna to former Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao? His dead body was not allowed in the AICC headquarters when he died in 2004. It was Narendra Modi's government. Who gave Bharat Ratna to Chaudhry Charan Singh, who has been hailed by many as the beacon of farmers' rights? कांग्रेस सिर्फ जय जवान जय किसान के नारे लगाती है, but कुछ किया चौधरी चरण सिंह के लिए? मोदी गवर्नमेंट gave Chaudhry Charan Singh a Bharat Ratna. Who gave Bharat Ratna to Pranab Mukherjee, a congressman for the longest time who was not even given a decent farewell after his demise? It was the Modi government who gave Bharat Ratna to Pranab Mukherjee. Modi government who gave Bharat Ratna to the likes of Bhupen Hazarika. Modi government that gave Bharat Ratna to the likes of Karpuri Thakur. Modi government that gave Bharat Ratna to the likes of MS Swaminathan. प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी ने खुद को भारत रत्न नहीं दिया. प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी ने अमित शाह को या जेपी नड्डा को भारत रत्न नहीं दिया. So we don't need lectures on propriety and probity from the Congress and Darbari ecosystem. That is my point number one, Preeti. And my point number two is this. RSS is divisive. Really? RSS is not inclusive. Really? Today, RSS and its various branches run the Saraswati Shishu Mandir Vidya Bharati Ekal Vidyalaya schools. More than 47,000 schools, in which more than 5.7 million, as in 57 lakh children from poor families get free education, particularly Adivasis and Dalits. Who gave constitutional status to National Commission for Backward Classes? Prime Minister Modi. Nehru ne, Indira ne, Rajiv ne.
Your 2 minutes is over. Your fader is going to go down. And let me also come back to what you said, that my question was very lengthy, and sometimes these lengthy questions impose a point of view to the viewer. The fact is, Sanju Verma, what you fail to recognize in here is the question is equally lengthy when asked of the Congress as well. And that's the sad part, because certain spokespersons only wish to have lengthy questions being asked to one side and not to them. So in this show, lengthy questions full of facts will be asked either sides of the divide, whether you like it or not. You wanted more time, here you have it. Two of you, both Anshul Abhijit ji and Sanju Verma ji, is going to get 2 minutes each to put their points forward. Anshul Abhijit, your 2 minutes start now, and there is, there is a point which not just Sanju Verma, which many make today. You have used, which is not you, sir, the Congress party over the years, especially in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, has used the Bharat Ratna to, give it to those who were close to them, and possibly maybe, not all, but quite a few of them, not who warranted the Bharat Ratna. So that charge does hold true, Anshul Abhijit, when you are being asked that today.
Preeti, no Bharat Ratna can have perfect acceptability cutting across all sections. This is not some utopia. There will be contention, there will be critique, there will be people for it, there will be people against it. But we are certainly against those people, and I've given you endless reasons why such polarizing figures, such communal figures, people who have not contributed in a wholesome way to the polity, to the democracy, to the freedom movement should be given that honor. Others you can contest. We can have a lengthy debate about each one of them. I don't mind. Let's take them up one by one. But I have another one, and that too, such a highly polarizing figure. Look, what the RSS is essentially known for, first of all, they want to make a monolith society of majoritarians. They are co-opting in a highly patronizing way all caste Hindus and then those who have been outside the caste hierarchy into it, and claiming that such magnanimity in this. The real fact is, and it's been called time and again, it's statements by them, is that they believe in status quoism and the virtues and values of the Dharma Shastras, an old archaic Hindu system, that society. The other part is minorities. I mean, why should you have a call for asking RSS workers, no, if you want to, you can agitate for Mathura and Kashi as well. I won't have anything to do with it. I mean, this seems like some kind of a dog whistle. Where are you taking this country to? This is the idea of this ideology which has been there for 100 years. It has been silent for much of that time. It was marginal. It was irrelevant. It had some figures. It has got sustained heft right now because people are in power right now. We are not going to allow this to happen. If they do it, well, we are certainly going to oppose it tooth and nail. This will be a highly combative and polarizing move.
All right, I think your time is up, sir. I want to cut across to Sanju Verma right now, and her 2 minutes begin now, because Sanju Verma, all the names that you detailed were already detailed by me where the Congress spokesperson was concerned. But the fact is that some aspects of Mr. Hedgewar's cultural nationalism were troublesome or disconcerting is not going to be washed over in this show. Neither, and let me tell you, when you talk about the various agencies of the RSS, let me give you an anecdote. When I was in Ahmedabad, I thought the RSS did a stellar job, especially during the time of the air crash. They did a job which was unparalleled, where support system to those loved ones who had lost, families of loved ones who were dead in the air crash was concerned. But you cannot gloss over the role of the RSS or the lack of a role of the RSS during the freedom struggle. Ma'am, your 2 minutes begin now.
Preeti, you're free to ask lengthy questions, and that was not meant to be offensive. I always say bring them on. But let me ask your audience, have they ever heard of a man called Hemu Kalani? This is a man who in 1943, and an RSS Swayam Sevak at that, he damaged British railway tracks, and at the young age of 19 years, he was executed in full public glare. Have our children been taught the history of Hemu Kalani? No. We were taught that Veer Savarkar was a traitor, but the same Darbari ecosystem forgets that on the 20th of May 1980, Indira Gandhi wrote a letter to Pandit Balkhe, secretary of the RSS, saying Veer Savarkar's contribution in the annals of India's freedom movement cannot be ignored. Indira Gandhi released a commemorative stamp in Veer Savarkar's honor. Indira Gandhi donated 11,000 rupees from her personal funds, which at that time in 1980 was a big figure. So let's not even get there. Veer Savarkar, his contribution, he's the first one, by the way, who spoke of Purna Swaraj, complete independence. Congress ki kya history hai? Congress was founded by an Englishman called Alan Octavian, whom the first Congress woman president was a woman called Annie Besant, an English socialist of Irish descent. And guess what? Annie Besant became in 1917 the first woman president of the Congress, and after 81 years, in 1998, a woman called Antonia Elbina Maino, aka Sonia Gandhi, declared herself Congress president by locking an OBC called Sitaram Kesri in the toilet. और आप यहाँ बैठकर OBCs के बारे में बात कर रहे हो. Mohan Yadav is from OBC. He's the CM of Madhya Pradesh. Mohan Charan Majhi in Odisha is an Adivasi. Draupadi Murmu is a tribal. Prime Minister Modi himself
All right. Ma'am, your time is up, I'm told. I appreciate both of you for joining us. It's going to be a hard cut on that. But viewers, this is a conversation, this is a debate which will continue, especially in days to come as we celebrate the centenary of the RSS, and all the politics, of course, that's swirling around it will be debated in times to come. Thank you, Anshul Abhijit ji. Thank you, Sanju Verma ji. With that, I'm going to dip in to the latest news break that is coming in on the fake Baba who was finally arrested as he was absconding for months on the charges of grave sexual assault. The news just coming in, the molester Baba, there have been sex toys, 5 porn CDs found during the raid. Fake photos of him with world leaders have also been found on his person in terms of in the place where he stayed. The Delhi police team has visited Bageshwar, Almora and other places where the accused stayed during his absconding period for corroborating evidence. Arvind Ojha is on the phone line with me. Arvind, what more can you add?
देखिए आज जो स्वामी चैतन्यानंद उर्फ पार्थ सारथी है उसको लेकर इंस्टीट्यूट गई थी दिल्ली पुलिस की टीम, और उस इंस्टीट्यूट में जो स्वामी चैतन्यानंद है उसने एक लग्जरी कमरा बनवा रखा था। उसकी तलाशी ली गई जहां से एक सेक्स टॉय और 5 सीडी जो अश्लील सीडी है, पॉर्न सीडी, वो और उसके अलावा कुछ वर्ल्ड लीडर के साथ जो फेक पिक्चर है वो रिकवर किया दिल्ली पुलिस ने। उसके अलावा दिल्ली पुलिस की टीम ने उत्तराखंड भी विजिट किया जहां पर ये एब्सकॉन्डिंग था, तब वहां पर स्वामी चैतन्यानंद विजिट किया था। उसके अलावा इंस्टीट्यूट में कुछ लोगों का स्टेटमेंट रिकॉर्ड किया है, क्योंकि जिस तरह से स्वामी चैतन्यानंद का कुछ लड़कियों के साथ चैट रिकवर हुआ, उसके बाद से स्टेटमेंट इंस्टीट्यूट के स्टाफ से रिकॉर्ड किया है दिल्ली पुलिस ने। रिकवरी बड़े पैमाने पर हुई है, जिसके बाद 2 घंटे सर्च ऑपरेशन के बाद दिल्ली पुलिस इंस्टीट्यूट से रवाना हो गई। जी,
बहुत शुक्रिया. Thank you, Arvind, for joining us for the latest details there. But viewers, getting you the latest in what has been a slew of fake Babas that have been discovered over the years. Maybe not of the same status as a Ram Rahim or an or an Asaram Bapu, but there's no point calling him Swami because he was definitely not one. Chaitanyanand now has been taken into arrest, and the kind of evidence that is coming is only astounding. Here's more.
It is Delhi's saga of shame. Chaitanyanand, Delhi's monster Baba, who allegedly molested at least 17 young students at his institute, has been nabbed by cops. But more skeletons continue to tumble out of his closet. India Today has now accessed his shocking sex chats that investigators say expose his predatory behavior. In one chat, he asks the girl if she will sleep with him, while in another, he says that a sheikh from Dubai wants a sex partner and even asks the student if a classmate or a junior might be available. The self-styled godman flooded his victims with sleazy lines.
Now, in the chats, you can see he used to call them baby, 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 where are you? Good morning, baby. These are the kind of messages that the molester Baba used to send the students, the girls through on chats. And the most important message that you need to see is that you will not sleep with me. This is the kind of language and the kind of messages that were sent by this self-styled godman to young girls. Will you not sleep with me? Good evening, my most beloved baby daughter is how he used to call these girls, is how he used to address these girls.
Cops now suspect that the self-styled godman may be involved in sex trafficking. His texts, where he revealed pimping for wealthy Dubai sheikhs, are now under the police scanner.
ये कई उससे दिखता है कि ये बातें कई महिलाओं से कर रहे हैं जो कि नहीं लगता कि कोई प्रोफेशनल बातें हैं, पर्सनल बातें हैं, और जैसे कि फोटो भी हैं कई एयर होस्टेस के साथ या जहाज में जब बैठे हैं नॉर्मल वे पे, और कई उन बच्चों ने इनको अपना बायोडाटा भी भेज रखा है कि नौकरी लगवाने के बहाने से इन्होंने उनसे बातचीत शुरू की होगी। तो वैसे अलग अलग बहाने से जिसकी जो प्रॉब्लम हो उस तरह से कहते होंगे कि मैं सबको पहचानता हूँ, जान पहचान है, मैं आपकी प्रॉब्लम हल करा दूंगा। तो उस बेस पे ये उनसे अपना बातचीत शुरू करते होंगे। वैसा इनका वो जो एक कंडक्ट होता है वो दिखता है।
As probe continues, Delhi police have now taken Chaitanyanand to his institute along with one of his women aides. This bone-chilling case has exposed how female students in some of Delhi's reputed educational institutes remain vulnerable to sexual exploitation. With Arvind Oja and Anjali Pandey, Bureau Report, India Today.
Highly disconcerting news coming in where 2 young lives have been lost by a government-supplied cough syrup that was administered to 2 toddlers. So a word of caution for parents as well. What was seen earlier as isolated incidents in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh has now snowballed into a massive public health scare.
First Madhya Pradesh and now Rajasthan. Mysterious deaths of children as young as 5 has shaken up both the states. A 5-year-old child died in Sikar after consuming a cough syrup provided under the state's free medicine scheme. A 3-year-old child in Bharatpur fell seriously ill after taking the same brand of syrup.
भरतपुर और सीकर से शिकायत आई थी कि ये डेक्स्ट्रोमेथोर्फिन सिरप जो है इससे बच्चों को लेने पे परेशानी आई। जांच के लिए सैंपल्स ड्रॉ किए जिसको हमने प्रयोगशाला के अंदर भेज दिए हैं और साथ ही साथ इस दवाई के उपयोग के ऊपर रोक लगा दी गई है।
In Madhya Pradesh, the victim suffered acute kidney failure. Investigations suggest the cough syrups administered to the children contained unsafe levels of diethylene glycol, DEG, a toxic chemical.
4 तारीख से लेके विगत यूँ समझिए कि 26 तारीख तक आपके परासिया क्षेत्र का जो है उसमें से कुल 6 डेथ्स जो है वो रिपोर्ट हुई हैं। उसके अंदर एक सिमिलरिटी पाई गई कि ये जो है कि इनको सबको काज ऑफ डेथ जो है एनोरिया मतलब कि पेशाब का ना बनना और पेशाब का ना होना पाया गया।
The district collector in Madhya Pradesh has imposed a ban on the sale of 2 specific cough syrups. Advisories have been issued for parents, doctors and medical store operators to prevent further casualties.
जो रिस्पॉन्सिबल होंगे, अगर इवन मेडिसिन भी रिस्पॉन्सिबल है तो जो मेडिकल के बनाने वाले हैं, मेडिसिन के बनाने वाले, उन पर भी ड्रग इंस्पेक्टर उन्होंने सैंपल्स लिए हैं, उनके प्रोटोकॉल के तहत जो भी कार्रवाई होगी वो की जाएगी। अगर किसी डॉक्टर्स या किसी की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फाइंडिंग में आएगी तो वो भी देखा जाएगा कि उस पर क्या कार्रवाई करनी है।
So what really is diethylene glycol? DEG is a toxic industrial solvent mistakenly substituted for safer diluents like glycerine or propylene glycol in medications, especially in countries with inadequate quality control. Gambia and Indonesia have seen these poisoning incidents as well in the year 2022, where 250 children died from pediatric cough syrups contamination with DEG and ethylene glycol, as reported by the World Health Organization. Uzbekistan saw this incident. 60 children died from DEG contaminated cough syrup, leading to an epidemic of acute kidney injury and death. This incident, a similar one reported from Haiti in the 1990s as well, and in Panama in the year 2006. Back home in India, between December 2019 and January 2020, 12 children in the Udhampur district of Jammu and Kashmir died after consuming a diethylene glycol, a DEG-tainted cough syrup called Cold Best PC. The government has now ordered a detailed probe. A team of the National Center for Disease Control is collecting samples, water samples as well, to check the drugs also, and these drugs are getting tested from MP and in Rajasthan. The use of the syrup for now has been suspended in both these states. With Bureau Inputs, Sneha Mordani in New Delhi for India Today Television.
My colleague Milan Sharma joins us for the latest. Milan, one thing very clearly, we don't want to sound alarmist here because there are a lot of parents out there who are administering cough syrups to their toddlers or to their young children. Is this an isolated incident to one particular manufacturer, company? What more can you add?
Well, Preeti, this is not an isolated incident because remember that these incidences have not just happened today, but as been pointing out earlier, that they have happened in Jammu. And of course, the case of where the Indian manufacturer Maiden Pharmaceuticals was making cough syrups that were being supplied to Gambia, where 66 children had died in similar circumstances. That case was taken up by WHO as well, and the Indian government had also responded to it in equal measure. The question is, all these companies, Preeti, that you look at, whether it's in Bharatpur, Sikar, Rajasthan, as well as Chhindwara and MP, are repeat offenders. They have been repeatedly pulled up by the Drug Controller Authority for some or the other contamination issues, either due to the lack of proper facilities for storage or contamination in the past. Then why are these companies once again given the licenses to manufacture these drugs, which are especially important in terms of the children that are taking them? And why is care not being taken if the cough syrups are being administered to children? In this particular case, it happened to be a government-led free cough syrup or free medical scheme that was part of this whole, system. And that is the real question. If companies are being pulled up again and again, why are they being allowed again to come into the market and supply these medications? And that is where the government needs to step in.
Thank you, Milan, for joining us for that quick update. We'll cut across to the developing story, which continues to development as the aftermath of all the swirling politics around the Asia Cup. Well, the latest in that right now is the standoff over the Asia Cup refusing to die down. Mohsin Naqvi may have softened his tone at the ACC meeting yesterday, but sources tell us the ACC chief has now stood firm, saying that if India wants the trophy and medals, their captain will have to collect it from the ACC office in Dubai. All of this comes after Mohsin Naqvi-led ACC left the stadium with the Asia Cup trophy. Joining me right now is my colleague Nikhil Nas to throw more light on the standoff, which seems to continue. Nikhil, what's the latest?
That's right, Preeti. The standoff continues. President of the ACC as well as the Pakistan Cricket Board, Mohsin Naqvi, remains defiant. He says that I maintain the stand, that I'm happy to still give the trophy to India, provided Surya Kumar Yadav, the Indian captain, comes and collects it. What is the latest on that?
All right, we seem to have lost Nikhil. We're going to try and reconnect to Nikhil joining us from Dubai, but it does seem that one can call it, the traditional terminology is the Mexican standoff, but the Asia Cup standoff continues ad nauseum, where Mohsin Naqvi asking Indian captain to come and collect the trophy. What is going to be the Indian side? We're going to keep a keen eye. For now, we're having none of it, refusing to accept it from Mr. Mohsin Naqvi.